thinking about the perspectives of these animals, if you were in that position, what would you want people to do in society to try and bring about that better world?
I would just say that I also have the right to be on this planet, in this world, as much as you do, and I should not be the one who has to sacrifice his family and his living for the other person.
Yeah. I have some questions here that I'll ask.
Okay.
In what ways are humans and non-human animals similar, and in what ways are they different?
I think they all care about the people that they're close to, and just unconditional love for the person that you care about.
Yeah.
For both people and not non-humans.
And do you think that animals value their own lives?
They do, but I think when it comes to their owner, they would prioritize their humans themselves. Yeah.
So thinking in maybe a broader context to include maybe wild animals who don't have owners, do you think they value their own lives, and is it sort of similar, or is it more or less?
So I think for a bear, for instance a bear, they would definitely value their own lives and their kids' life, and which is why they end up attacking humans, for instance, if they feel threat towards them or their families.
Okay.
Which is also another thing that I could add on the first question that is similar, to just protect your own tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you say that sort of the fact that they value their own lives, does that mean that we should sort of respect that and sort of take that into account when we're making decisions?
Definitely.
Definitely, yeah. And sort of what does that entail in terms of how we relate to sort of animals in nature and in our society?
I think we should also respect their privacy and also respect that they have similar mindset when it comes to family, and if we pose we go too close to them to take a photograph or something, they would consider that as a threat and attack because of that.
Yeah.
So
cool. So it seems like we agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
That animals, they're here on Earth and they have intrinsic values, so they value their own lives, and that we should respect that, right?
Yeah.
Can you think of any ways that our society does the opposite of that? That sort of doesn't respect this value that animals have to themselves?
I think just when it comes to wild animals, I think it's a natural tendency that you get excited when you see them, and then you try to go close to them to take photographs, or even photographers they also try and get too close to them, which is getting into their privacy. So that is one thing that I think that we should keep our distance.
Yeah. When we get close to them, it sort of distresses them and it causes them harm, right? And that's why it's bad, right?
Yeah.
And would you say that are there any other sort of interactions that humans have with animals aside from wild animals? Because we can think of domesticated animals. Are there any instances you can think of with that sort of category? For example, pets. We keep pets quite close to us, right? And we love our pets a lot. But when you look at sort of other animals in society, animals that are on farms, do you think there's a difference there in how we treat them?
Yeah, I think it depends on the animal as well.
Mm-hmm.
So dogs dogs or cats they are closer to you because they live with you and everything.
Yeah.
But when you're at a farm, since they have their own habitat and their own environment, so that does change how you treat the animal. Yeah.
And do you think that sort of what we were talking about earlier in terms of this value that animals have, clearly dogs and cats, like you said, they value their own lives. Do you think the same could be said of farm animals, so pigs, chickens, cows, fish, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. So these animals, right, like you said, they value their own lives. Do you think it would be acceptable to treat dogs and cats in the same way that we treat pigs, for example?
No. I'm biased because I have a dog.
Yeah, that's fair. So what do you think the difference is there between treatments between dogs and pigs?
I don't know if you can get the same amount of affection with a pig, for instance.
But in terms of how we treat them?
Yeah. I don't think it should be that different, if we think about it.
Yeah.
But I know that in real world scenario, it's not that way.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, dogs, we keep quite close to us. We love them. We shower them with affection.
Yeah.
Are you aware of the conditions sort of on farms when it comes to pigs and their lives? Yeah, it's quite bad, right?
Yeah.
So we don't really take their interest into account, right? And we cram them in small spaces. We really just treat them as a machine to be used for our own purposes, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the same isn't true of dogs. And when it comes to the end of their lifespan, not their natural lifespan, but when they get to a point where they become large enough, we usually kill them and we use their bodies for food.
Yeah.
So do you think that's something good? Do you think that's something we should try and change?
We should definitely try and change that, yeah.
What would society look like if we redesigned it in the interest of these animals?
I think in the long run it would be good, and when it comes to like being a means of food, there are other options that people can like have instead, like, and not like take sacrifices of all these like animals for that. So
that's a good point. So you would say that sort of when we exploit animals for food, you'd say that's sort of an unnecessary thing, that we don't need to do it?
It is definitely unnecessary.
So it's unnecessary and we don't need to do it, so we should stop doing it, right?
Yes, we should stop doing it for sure.
Cool, that's cool, because that's sort of what we're trying to raise awareness for today is, the conditions of these animals that are exploited by our society. So I'm glad that we're on the same page there, and it's really great to see some awareness of that from people. So thinking about the perspectives of these animals, say like put yourself in the position of a pig who's about to be slaughtered for food, for example. If you were in that position, what would you want people to do in society to try and bring about that better world?
I don't know. Like being an animal, you can obviously not like vocalize.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like what you are going through. But sorry, what was the question again?
So if you're putting yourself in the position of a pig, for example, or really any animal that we use for food, and imagine that you had the chance, I know animals can't vocalize like you said, but just imagine they could. And let's say you have the chance to talk to a human who sort of participates in these industries which exploit you. For example, sort of someone who buys animal products. What would you say to them to try and get them on your side, to try and get them to build this better world for you?
I would just say that I also have the right to be on this planet, in this world as much as you do, and like I should not be the one like who has to like sacrifice his family and his like his living for the other person, like for the other humans, I guess.
That's a really good point, and I love how you put it there, because when we use our empathy and we really put ourselves in the positions of these animals, it becomes clear that there's really no justifiable reason to do what we're doing to them, right? Yeah, so that's cool. How are you feeling so far? Doing good?
Yeah,
cool.
We had a good conversation.
I know these are like some pretty tough questions sometimes for people, but I have another question, and feel free to take your time if you want, but sort of, do you consume or purchase any animal products, meat, dairy, and eggs, or that sort of thing?
I do. Eggs.
Yeah. And so do you see that as being justified, given what we've talked about before, or do you think...
No, I'd like to change that.
Yeah, cool, yeah. That's great, because that's sort of what we're trying to raise awareness for here. Yeah, so have you heard of like veganism and that sort of thing? Yeah, cool. I guess you want to do it. What do you think would be preventing you?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think because it's so readily available, and like you live in such a fast-paced environment, like, and you need something like really quick, and even if you like take an instance for McDonald's, there's like hardly any vegetarian stuff there, and if you want like a quick snack, like it's just convenient, basically.
The convenience thing,
yeah.
Do you think that by sort of by doing some learning and some research, do you think there would be ways to alleviate that convenience concern? Yeah, cool. There's actually, I'll give you some resources in a second. There's an app called Happy Cow.
Okay.
It's basically like Google Maps, but for vegan restaurants.
Okay.
So you just put in your location, and it tells you all the options around you, and then you can go. I'm sure here there's going to be lots of stuff. As you said, it's going to be much more convenient to choose an animal products.
Yeah.
But if you keep in mind this whole conversation we've had, if you really try and look at it from the perspective of the animals, they would want us to take as much effort as we can to avoid, exploiting them, right?
For sure.
Yeah, so I think we're on the same page there.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for the conversation. I just
welcome.
have a few more. So there's that Happy Cow app.
Yeah.
There's also Vegan Supply, which is just a store. It has a lot of vegan options.
Okay.
Pretty much any food that you already enjoy, you can just search up a vegan option.
Yeah.
And you're either going to find something that you can buy or like a recipe that you can make.
Okay.
And
I'll
and
definitely download that. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
And there's just some more resources there.
Oh, okay. Is that for me?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thanks for the conversation.
Have a good one.
Have a great day.